All right, Friday update, arbitration. Just a heads up, as I explained to you yesterday, we filed a motion in Judge Mitchell's court. There was a hearing set for Monday on the 28th. The judge has canceled that hearing and set a briefing schedule, which means the city has to respond by March 3rd to our filing. We will then respond by March 7th to their response, and the judge will either issue a decision from there or hold a hearing theoretically on the 7th, 8th, or maybe the 9th, and we'll see what happens from there. So that's where arbitration and court stands right now. With the arbitration decision, I can tell you there's been yet another change in policy procedure and how this whole stuff has been processed. The reinstatements, which used to be you wanted to go back to work, you went back to work, has now changed for anybody who's been in a no paid status for 30 days or more. The city has now considered them the same as anybody on a leave of absence. You have to go through the full reinstatement process, fingerprints, drug screen, physical, and all of that nonsense, which is going to take weeks to keep you in a no paid status even longer, different than everybody else. Apparently, Mayor Putin has decided that she is going to just cause as much pain and havoc as she possibly can to prove a point, because this has never been about right and wrong. It's simply about her winning at all costs, and to hell with the destruction she causes along the way. Pretty pathetic. But change is coming. Exemptions. As I said yesterday, anybody who had an exemption that's been denied, please resubmit one again. Get it denied a second time. If it was denied because you didn't have a religious leader sign it, as we told you, the Supreme Court has said that that is not a requirement. The city added that requirement. But if you want to have one sent in with the religious leader's signature, so be it. If it gets denied a second time, well, I guess that'll kind of bolster the case. But the goal is to have a very clear path when we do take this to court over the exemption process itself. On that note, somebody provided us with a FOIA result that they had submitted for the information of department members and names in the city who have been reviewing the religious exemptions. So I have the list in front of me. I will post it on the Facebook page and the website so everybody can see what city department members have been reviewing these exemptions. It's kind of strange. I don't know what the budget director actually knows about religion that he's processing, or a couple assistant budget people processing religious exemptions, but that's what's been going on. So that list will be up shortly. If it wasn't clear yesterday, if you did not get a response to your exemption request yet, you are fine. You will be subjected to the twice weekly testing if you get it granted or until you get a denial. At the point you get a denial, you will have 6 weeks from the denial to then submit to vaccination as it stands currently. If you have already been denied, you still have until March 13th to get that first dose or the Johnson & Johnson. It wasn't 6 weeks from whenever your denial was sent to you. It's whatever date is later. I hope that's clear. Now let's talk about another incident that's been kind of hanging around for a while, and the mayor certainly didn't want to talk about too many things, but couldn't wait to come to the defense of the chief of internal affairs, Yolanda Talley, and saying there's no evidence that she has done anything wrong. David Brown apparently concurs. But I will remind Superintendent Brown of an incident that happened in August of 2020 when an off-duty, intoxicated police officer, who is now a firefighter, got in a physical altercation after a discharge of a weapon report, drunk. And the incident involved 4 on-duty police officers who were then instantly, the next day, stripped of their police powers pending an investigation because they refused to sign criminal complaints against that member, they were going to let the department process for discipline take its course and didn't want to add criminal charges on top of it. And because of that, this department stripped those officers, and we had to wait weeks to get them back reinstated to do the right thing. That was David Brown's decision to strip those officers. He is not forcing Yolanda Talley to step aside till this investigation is over. And again, it just goes to show the rules for thee and rules for me. They will do anything to cover their own. What happened that night is all on PodCam and body cam. From the egregious behavior of the niece to the criminal conduct allegedly of the passenger and the narcotics. But the car was taken to Holman Square initially with the intent to impound the car. That changed somewhere along the course, and that's where this really gets interesting. The sergeant, lieutenant, and commander of that unit had a powwow in an office with a phone conversation, then I'm being told, went all the way up to Ernie Cato on what to do. Now, whether Cato called Talley or not, I have no idea, but the decision was made to give her car back instead of impounding it like it should have been from the beginning. Talk about good old boy network, and just the more shit changes, the more it stays the same in this department. But there is no excuse why the chief of internal affairs charged with the behavior and conduct of the men and women of Chicago Police Department should not be held to a higher standard than anybody else in this department. But that is not the case, because she has been the anointed one. She has risen from a lieutenant to a chief of IED in 4 years. I mean, think about the ridiculousness of that. So you know who her juice is. It's Cato and it's Carter. It's disgusting. But on a bright note, to end this Friday update, I will tell you, last week, everybody's worst friend, State's Attorney Kim Foxx, decided to arbitrarily criminally charge another one of our members with wrongdoing for trying to find a gun on an offender who was shot by the police after shooting at them in the 12th District. Thankfully, some smart people intervened who are a hell of a lot smarter, apparently, than the Cook County State's Attorney, because today at 26th and Cal, the grand jury denied the bill and shot it down. There was no approval of charges from the grand jury. The case is dismissed, the officers off the hook, because it should have never been brought to the grand jury or charges brought forth to begin with, because this state's attorney has no idea what she's doing other than trying to get CPD scalps on her wall. That has never been more clear than this afternoon. So thankfully, that officer can breathe a little easier this weekend and enjoy himself. He will not be facing criminal charges like he should not have been to begin with. And it just puts a little egg on the face, but she has no shame. She won't care. She'll come after another one of us down the road in the next week, next month, or the next year. You can guarantee that. All I can tell you is all of this nonsense highlights the need why Mayor Putin and the whole crew need to go in the next election cycle as soon as possible, and it will take money, manpower, and determination to make that happen. Have a safe weekend, everybody.